In other news, in findings released today in an OCBC survey conducted during the circuit breaker, 2 in 3 working Singaporeans and permanent residents said they don't have enough savings to allow them to maintain their current lifestyle beyond 6 months if they were to lose their jobs now.
Around half had already suffered wage cuts, were prescribed no-pay leave, or had their commission earnings reduced. So let's discuss this further with OCBC Bank's Executive Director of Investment Strategy, Vasu Menon. Vasu, what were your first reactions to the survey findings? Is it worrying that most working Singaporeans won't have enough savings to last them more than 6 months?
It is worrying indeed that most Singaporeans will not have enough savings to last them beyond 6 months, but it's not totally unexpected. Because if you look at the survey, 47% of the respondents said that they suffered some form of income reduction, either because of no pay leave, because of lower commissions, because of a reduction in wages. So that may have impeded the ability to save as well. I think the other things that caught my attention that is rather worrying is the fact that, number one, I think 40% of the respondents who are investing said they plan to reduce their investments going forward, and 55% said that they plan to reduce their savings. Now, I think it's very important to save and invest because many of us, work towards life goals in the future, things like getting married, purchasing a house, having children, sending them to university, planning for our own retirement planning. So it is very important to just go beyond just emergency savings, but also to save and invest for our long-term future. To me, what caught my attention, which is rather heartening, was the fact that 20%, or rather the people in their 20s, what I found was many of them who are probably have a reputation for being impulsive to some extent, came through quite positively. They indicated they plan to save more, invest more, and many of them indicated an interest in taking on online courses to upgrade themselves. So there was a silver lining in the survey as well.
Right. Vasu, these findings, are they simply because of the unique COVID-19 situation that we're in right now? Say, for example, in any other time, would Singaporeans have enough savings to last them beyond 6 months?
I don't think it's completely unique to COVID-19 because we did a survey last year for the OCBC Financial Wellness Index, and the same thing came through, that the respondents did not have sufficient funds, emergency savings, to provide a buffer. So I think going forward, it's very, very important for individuals to make sure that they save. I think perhaps COVID-19 is a wake-up call. I mean, gets the respondents, perhaps people in general, to wake up to the fact that they need to save more. That means cutting back on your non-essential expenses, putting aside more savings, perhaps even itemizing your savings. I mean, that may help. When you itemize your savings, you get a better idea of where the expenses are, and that helps you to cut back. Then, of course, you can bolster your resources by investing, of course. And when you invest, then that also provides more financial resources for you to fall back on in the future. But clearly, what's happening now is not unique, and it's something that Singaporeans in general have to be more prepared for in future.
Right. Well, you mentioned some measures that each of us can do to save. So, do you have any other advice for us as we try to tide through this economic downturn?
Well, I think it is at the end of the day, there are no easy answers to this. It's really a combination of making sure that we are very careful in the way we spend, that we are prudent. And this will come to pass. I mean, COVID-19 is not going to be with us forever. I mean, it'll come to pass. I'm optimistic of that. And better times will return. But even when better times return, I think it's important for investors, for people in general, to watch what they spend on, cut back on non-essentials, save, invest, grow their savings, and plan for their long-term future. I think those things are very, very important. And I think we are here to help. I mean, banks like OCBC, even other banks and financial institutions, we've got experts within the bank who can actually take you through your finances to make sure that, they are relatively strong and that you're prepared for a secure, longer term future.
Then what about in terms of our economic recovery? What does this mean to our economic recovery when 2/3 of working adults here say they don't have enough savings?
Well, again, I think COVID-19 is not a fixture. I think this will come to pass. I'm very optimistic of that. I think when that happens, the economy will slowly get back on its feet. Income levels will start improving. Individuals will hopefully save more. They'll have more income in their pocket to spend as well. And that will give the economy, I think, a bit of a boost. But bear in mind that the Singapore economy is not just driven by consumer spending, domestic consumer spending. It's also driven by other factors. Exports, trade is a very important part of the Singapore economy. Foreign investments, important part of the economy as well. Tourist arrivals, the services sector, which also depend on tourist arrivals. So various components to the economy, not just consumer spending, but I think consumer spending will also pick up once we go past COVID-19 and the economy recovers and people have more money in their pockets to spend.
Right. Well, thank you so much, Vasu, for speaking with us. That was Vasu Menon from OCBC Bank, where he's Executive Director of Investment Strategy.